We are behind the police lines at the west of the square. What's happening here is that the protesters have mainly been pushed into the centre of the park, but the police have isolated a group down to this western flank. If you look down here, you can see what is gas rising up from behind the police lines here. What you can see in the foreground are numbers of officers. You might be able to see the gun the gentleman is holding. This is what they're firing, the gas canisters from here. They have surrounded a group of protesters on this western flank. They're in a narrow street where they had built barricades. They have been sleeping down next to their barricades. They thought that this might happen, so they've been sleeping down there so that they would have some warning that the police were moving in. The police have isolated them in that street. They're firing firecrackers up into the air, which you might be able to hear more bangs. You can certainly see gas coming from down there. They are trying to suppress the protesters who are down there. Meanwhile, the protesters are throwing stones back in. Yeah, you might be able to see coming out of the park now. Some of the protesters have been told to stay inside the park. They've been told that the police are just moving the barricades around the entrances to the park. But the protesters are pushing out of the park down towards the police lines. They're throwing stones at them. They've got hard hats on. They've got respirators. They did have some sense that this might be coming. The protesters are throwing rocks at the police. You can see the police with shields up, riot gear ready in these lines. They have said that they won't move into the park. They're asking protesters to stay gathered in the park. I don't know if you can see, if we pan the camera over here, the protesters who are in the park coming out this morning to watch what is happening. There are a wide variety of people in that park. The core of this movement is the young. There are a lot of young students, a lot of young protesters in there, but there are also families. There are women with children sleeping in tents in that square. They are determined to stay there. I spoke to one woman yesterday who told us that they would be here until the end of this demonstration. And this is how this started. It started with police action to clear the square. We're just going to move up as police are moving up. Again, this is what they're doing, is containing protesters inside the square while they try to clear the entrances to the square.